So Gary O'Neill has now had 2 seasons in a row in the Premier League, keeping sides up. First it was Bournemouth after everybody thought that it was going to get relegated, and then after that it was Wolves. After a few mid-table finishes, he got them that again. This season it could all be a little bit different because I'm not sure that Wolves are as strong as they were last season. Pedro Neto's left, Max Kilman's left, and they've had a bit of a reshape of the squad. And there's going to be a lot of factors going into it, like the league being stronger this year than it was last season, that I think could put Wolves in some trouble. Just before I start the video, I'm just going to ask you to pop a like on the video and subscribe to the channel down below. Put those notifications on so then you never miss an upload. I try and do a fair bit of football content where it's opinion and it's using tactics and analysis, opposed to just, you know, like what other content creators do, like the club, where it's just constant clickbait, looking for clicks and not really just getting their point across in a good way. So if you like what you hear, please subscribe to the channel. But without any further ado, let's get into the video. So far this season, Wolves have lost 2-0 to Arsenal, 6-2 to Chelsea, and got 1-1 draw against Forest. And in each of those games, they've played, you know, a hybrid sort of 5-3-2, 4-4-1-1 shape. Basically, what it is they'll have Totti at left back and Aït-Nouri on the left midfield position. But you know, in sustained spells where they're under a lot of pressure, like against Arsenal and a little bit like against Chelsea, Aït-Nouri will come and he'll tuck in and it'll go into left wing back, and then it'll end up being, you know, 5-3-1-1, 5-3-2 sort of shape. And it works. It's what Gary O'Neill's used to. It's a very fluid shape in terms of positional play, because obviously when they're attacking, they'll have Aït-Nouri on one side, and then they'll have Semedo on the other side, and depending on which side they are, the centre halves will help out. Obviously, it'll be either Totti on the left or Mosquera on the right. And talking of Mosquera, he's a player who's come in and he's starting to get a lot of first team football for them. Last season he was on loan at Villarreal for the second half of that season. He got 19 appearances for them in La Liga. He was a fairly impressive player, and now he's coming into the Premier League and is in a defence where Max Kilman's not there anymore. He's obviously gone to West Ham. He's gone straight into the lineup and he's looking okay. But you know, the defence is partly an issue for Wolves because obviously they've conceded 9 goals in 3 games. 6 of those coming against Chelsea as well. Chelsea, who going for a bit of a transition phase. Obviously, they've had managers like Graham Potter, Tuchel, Lampard, and then obviously Graham Potter. And now Potter's gone. They've gone for Maresca, and it's a different style of football again. And the fact is that Chelsea, I don't know whether they've hit the ground running or whether it's just a bad Wolves performance in that game. This weekend gone, they've just drew 1-1 to Forest, and they've conceded silly goals. A lot of them have been down the left-hand side. Totti and Aït-Nouri, 2 players who should be able to nullify it. You know, Madueke got a hat-trick, Chelsea's right winger, a player who I'm not 100% sure whether he's anything special. The finishers weren't anything special, and Jose Sarr let them in. Johnston has now replaced him, Sam Johnston has. And they conceded headed goals to Chris Wood and to Nicholas Jackson from set pieces. So defensive frailties there, which you shouldn't really be having in the Premier League. Nicholas Jackson should not be scoring a header from a corner, especially when they've got Mosquera, Dawson and Totti all in the box, and Lemina's not a small lad, and Semedo and Aït-Nouri, they've got players who should really be able to defend opportunities like that. And they have bought in players this season. Larson's come in, he's slotted straight up front, which has meant Hwang's out the lineup, and I'm not sure that's a good thing exactly, because I feel like Hwang and Kuna have quite a good link-up play, and obviously Larson, he looks to be a good player, a big physical threat, and again, a set-piece option for them, but is he quite got the link-up with the other players? I'm not too sure. And yeah, they've let Neto go this season, they've let Kilman go, as I said already, and they've replaced Neto with Forbes. He's coming on loan from Ajax. I think it's with a view to a permanent for around 10 to 15 million, and we don't know how good he is. He's 20 years old, and obviously replacing Pedro Neto is not an easy thing to do because he's such a good player. As soon as he came back from that injury for Wolves last season, he was definitely their best player. Hit the ground running and kept it going, and obviously Chelsea, funnily enough, have got him now. And I just want to discuss the opportunities for Wolves this season, because I don't think that they're really going to be pushing much higher than 14th place. I think there's a risk that it could go down. Last season, I think in the final 89 games of the season, they had 1 win. And they're going to have 3 teams worse than them this season. Now, obviously, Leicester, Ipswich, Everton, Southampton are all teams who don't look to be amazing. All look like they could easily be going down this season. In pre-season, I thought Brentford and Forest might struggle a bit, but they're looking perfectly fine, especially Forest. They're looking to have a really good setup. Gibbs White's just gone to the England camp, so Forest seems to be on the rise more than they're going down. Funnily enough, it's Nuno Espirito Santos as their manager. I'm sure Wolves fans miss those days because they just look a very vulnerable side, and they've averaged 1 goal a game this season. Admittedly, one of those games was against Arsenal, so it's always difficult. And they're not starting Tommy Doyle, who I feel like is a really good impact player for them. Instead, they're starting Gomez, who they've signed, and Lamina, who are okay. And I'm naming all of these players for them, and I feel like they're all just bang average. Cunha's probably their best player. Now, Pedro Neto's gone. I'm just trying to think who else. I think it's got to be a cohesive unit, and apparently in pre-season Gary O'Neill's trying to go for a bit more of an attacking formation for them, or a bit more of an attacking style of play, and with the players that they've got, I'm not sure that quite works. Craig Dawson, he's early to mid 30s now, and he's definitely going to be on the decline, and he's playing as a centre back, and I don't know whether he's exactly the sort of player to be commanded in defence. I feel like he's a good stalwart, he'll get his head where it hurts sort of thing, but I don't think he's exactly the sort of defender that you want to be relying on for the whole season. Who have they really got to cover him? They signed a lad for 5 million, some young French lad, and I'm not 100% sure whether he's ready to step up. They've signed Andre, who's a defensive midfielder. He's definitely not a centre-back. I'm not trying to say that, but I'm just trying to say I don't know where their huge amount of quality is. This is for you guys to discuss in the comments for me, because I don't know whether I'm being silly and overthinking that Wolves are going to go down, but I also don't see them exactly staying up easily. I think Ipswich is certainly going to improve as the season goes on. They've had Liverpool and they've already had Man City in this early part of the season. Once Ipswich start playing teams, in and around the bottom half of the table, I think they're really going to pick up. I feel like their attacking structure is really good. Leicester under Steve Cooper, I feel like Steve Cooper's getting his way across this squad, and they've made some pretty key signings towards the end of the window. Edouard coming in at striker is one of the ones off the top of my head. And there's Southampton as well. I feel like they're going to go down, to be honest, because I don't think Russell Martin is quite capable of keeping a side up. And I'd love him to prove me wrong, because I like his style of football. They've been the highest average possession side in the division so far, or second highest to Spurs. But that's going a bit off topic. So just a quick one, just bit of one person sort of podcast speaking about Wolves and what I think their opportunities are for the season. So tell me down in the comments, are they going to stay up? Are they even in danger? You'll have to let me know. As I say, subscribe to the channel for more content. I'm trying to upload a couple of times a week now, just getting these single person podcast style videos across. Like the video. Thank you very much for watching. I'll catch you next time.